Yeah. Good afternoon and welcome to the April 19, right? 2024 meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. Thanks to Randy Grosjean, David Brandenburg, Chief Fiorito, and cast of any others that were involved in greeting people. Thanks to Henry for taking care of Ticketmaster duties. Thanks to Eric and Beth for setup. Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, who actually I saw here today. It's nice. And Mike Swig for the great programs we have. And thanks to Jim Gundel for taking care of the website. So, Denny, would you come forward and give us an indication, please? Oh, yeah. Sir, that's very. Well, good afternoon. Would you join me in prayer? Oh, Holy Creator, we invoke a blessing upon the occasion of Rotary Fellowship. Make us aware of a deeper significance of our meetings as we develop our friendships and as we source of Rotary for service radiating from this community to the wider community beyond. Amen. Amen. Hey, well, thank you, Danny. As I slipped in under the wire today, just for time to meeting this going on. And remind me of a story I'd like to share with you. Many of you have known our former longtime elected prosecutor, Bill Skank, and he was trying a case back when he was a part-time prosecutor with another part-time prosecutor who happened to end up being our attorney general or U.S. attorney for this district, right? I'm missing his name, but anyway, they split up the witnesses for this murder trial, and which is a terrible idea. So each of them had took their share of witnesses, prepared them, and had them ready, and so in the middle of questioning his witness, Greg saw Bill Skank leave the courtroom. He didn't know, get smoke, whatever. He just leaves. And the next witness is Bill's witness. Greg doesn't know anything about the witness other than just the basics. So he's kind of trying to stretch out the examination a little bit. No bill, no bill. So finally he says, I'll just have to wing it in a murder trial. And so he calls the witness to the stand, and he's about to stand up to question him. And the back door of the courtroom flies open, and Bill says, would you state your name and record, or state your name for the record, please? So I thought, only that guy could do that. Anyway, so Secretary's report.
So 66% today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cassie brings a crowd.
Yeah. So Shannon, Greg, you got a couple guests?
I have Brianna and Abby with me today.
Okay, guys.
Eric got a couple guests? Or there you go. Yeah, I'm getting out there. And okay. And then I have a guest from my wife Amanda. I'll take it.
Okay. 66%?
66.
That's awesome.
I really hovered.
It's good. No complaints about that. All right. Sergeant at Arms today. Who will that be? Chris Hadley.
Okay. Hey, please sign in.
They'll turn on this.
So if you all only knew what was coming, you probably would not have clapped. So buckle up, here we go. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Today is April 19th, day 110 of this year, leaving us 256 days of this leap year. Or for those who really love numbers, we are 43% through the year already. So today is a monumental day. Does anybody know why? Who's?
Paul Harris's birthday, founder of Rotary.
Well, there's that guy, but so today at midnight there was an album that was dropped by a person named Taylor Swift. Also dropped a second surprise album a few hours later in the middle of the night. So I'm sure you're wondering why this is a big deal besides it being Taylor Swift. So as of this morning, 15 minutes after it debuted, it hit number 92 on the Apple Music charts in the US. It is the only album to ever have every song debut in the top 25 on Apple Music in the US. By 5 p.m., the song Fortnite had 1.3 million views on YouTube. By 6 a.m., Fortnite was the #1 song on Apple Music in the US. As of now, it is already the largest album of the year on Spotify. It is 90, or as of this morning, 93 countries had it #1 on Apple Music. It is the fastest album to hit #1, surpassing Midnight by Taylor Swift. Yeah, I know, for sure. So all those numbers are expected to climb as we go, but obviously she is a big deal and is doing big things, and it's just awesome to see. So moving forward, other things that have happened this day on history, a lot of bad things have happened. So we're going to skip all that and just focus on a few of the good things. So going all the way back to 1926, sound is added to film for the very first time, which I think we all can appreciate that. And then in 1987, the first installment of The Simpsons is aired. And this was aired on the Tracy Ullman Show in the form of 1-minute shorts. And I think they have done pretty well ever since then. Yeah. So for things to celebrate today, today is National Clean Out Your Medicine Cabinet Day. Today is also National Hanging Out Day. And it's not like what hanging out, like what we're doing here. This is what they say it is about learning the benefits both financially and environmentally of using clotheslines for drying laundry. Now, with how windy it's been here recently, could be good, could be bad. You might lose some clothes, you might get some clothes. You never know. So if we're looking to celebrate things coming up, tomorrow is National 420 Day. I don't have any information on that. So feel free to celebrate. It is also Volunteer Recognition Day tomorrow. Following next week is National Volunteer Week. Tomorrow's also National Lookalike Day. Monday is the beginning of Passover. It is also Earth Day. I feel like Brandon might have a few words to say about that. We also have on Tuesday, School Bus Appreciation Day and National Take a Chance Day. Wednesday, National Bucket List Day. So if you are needing to finish your bucket list, get it done by Wednesday. It is also National Administrative Professionals Day, which I think all of us have benefited from a administrative assistant from time to time. So definitely show them some love on Wednesday. And also next week is Administrative Professional Week. So they get a day and a week next week. And then the 25th on Thursday, we have National Hug a Plumber Day. Shannon, any recommendations on who we need to hug?
Wear like a poncho or rain jacket.
Thursday is also Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day and National Telephone Day. Also keep in mind next week is National Princess Day and National Preservation Day, which in related news, our friend Dave Nolan will present American Indian impacts in Beavercreek Township prior to 1800 on Tuesday at the Peace Lutheran Church. So if you are looking to do something Tuesday night, go out, support a friend of Rotary, and maybe learn a thing or two about Beavercreek way before any of us were born. If you're looking for something to do tonight, the Fairborn Library from 3 to 6 p.m. has friendship bracelets that you can take your kids to go up there and make for free. There's a guy by the name of Jerry Seinfeld has 2 shows tonight at Schuster Center. And then the Dayton Dragons are taking on Fort Wayne at 7 p.m. tonight, or I'm sorry, 7:30 tonight, 1 p.m. tomorrow. Also, starting tomorrow, Bellbrook Sugar Maple Festival is all weekend. Brandon, I saw this and instantly thought of you. I know you're going to be in attendance for this. Tomorrow at the Narrow Reserves, there will be a presentation called Dumb Birds of Ohio. The description of this is, do birds annoy you? Do their tiny beady eyes make you want to commit murder? Okay, maybe that's a bit extreme, but our naturalist Courtney can agree that birds are the worst, but they are also pretty cool. It's a complicated relationship. This is an adult-only program due to content. So, exactly. Also going on tomorrow, we have again, this is like Brandon's weekend tree seeding giveaway at the 2nd Street Market tomorrow from 9 to 3. At the Air Force Museum, we have the Greater Dayton Corvette Club doing a coffee and cars up there. And then if you have any teams that need service hours, the Reach Center, I'm in Xenia from 10 to 12. They can go there, do projects, and earn a couple hours for all their fun school things. All right, let's get to some celebrations for our Rotarians. First off, let's do some birthdays. First, happy belated to Fran. Celebrated I won't say what birthday, but celebrated birthday earlier this month. We also had, well, actually not had, but coming up on Sunday, we have the man that was super and superintendent, Mr. Paul Otten, who obviously is celebrating early and couldn't make it here today. And then coming up on Tuesday, we have El Presidente of the Rotary chapter, Mr. Jay Kuzak. So you have no reason to forget. Thank you. Anniversaries, 3 years on the 23rd, we have Andrew Hunt. He was sponsored by, does anybody know?
David Brandenburg.
No. Another legend of the club, Mike Zwick. Celebrating 13 years on the 22nd, we have the First Lady, Beth Kuzak. Do you remember who sponsored you?
Jonathan Bieber.
There it is.
Thank you for the reminder. Sure.
And then on the 9th, we had a gentleman by the name of Ed O'Shaughnessy that celebrated a quarter of a century with the club, and he was sponsored by no other than Fran. Moving on, wedding anniversaries. Since mine is the earliest, shortest, whatever you want to call it, my wife and I celebrated our third on the 10th. Todd and RJ Figgins celebrated 8 years on the 16th. And then our favorite city manager, Pete, and his wife, Terry, celebrated 34 years on the 14th. And now, Fran and Ed, can I have you stand up for a second? So coming up soon on the 22nd, these two will be celebrating 57 years. Be selfish. Obviously, I'm new into the marriage game. I'm sure there's others here that are fairly new. So, are there any secrets or advice you can give us honeymooners to hopefully reach 57 years and more?
A good marriage is work.
Yes.
Don't cruise through it.
Come on.
All right. So I know you all always look forward to the jokes. I unfortunately will be skipping those today because the bar that has been set before me, whether it's high or low in your opinion, I don't know. Leave it where it is. And also, selfishly, I want to hear Cassie talk because I met her earlier at the State House. She sounds like she's doing awesome things. I want to make sure she's got plenty of time to spread all the good things that she's doing. But I also would not be doing my job. It would be a huge disservice to the Sergeant at Arms gig if I didn't channel my inner Don Adams right now to do today's fine. So you cannot blame me for these. These would be what Don would have wanted. Not so. If you've ever taken a medication, that'll be a Don.
Rule.
If you've ever been on a school bus, that'll be a Don. If you've ever created a bucket list, that'll be $1. Ooh. If you've ever watched a episode of The Simpsons, that'll be $1. And if you've ever used a telephone, that'll be $1. Yeah. Just fill in the shoes of Sergeant at Arms here.
And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you. I appreciate the hard work. All right, so and then of course, standard if you're not wearing a rotary pin, that is $1. Now I will keep my fingers crossed that one of you wins the Queen Park Day and help chip into everyone's debt. So with that,
You can go collect from the angry mobs. See, I see the strategy there. Chris knows that he might be recruited to replace Don, and he has made it so he will not be voted in. Yeah, smart, good one. All right, happy bucks. Just got a happy buck. Jim,
So I wanted to give a happy buck to piggyback off the, I did ride a school bus. I just wanted to give a happy buck that I never had to walk up to school, uphill the school both ways.
all right, that's,
Yeah.
John,
I have a happy buck. First of all, the Beavercreek Sugar Maple Festival starts tonight. Kids are in school. Bunch of softies, sorry. Back when I went to Beavercreek, we went to school, even though the Sugar Maple Festival was going on all the time. But a happy buck is for actually my wife. She was just selected, as the first ever assistant principal at her school in Millbrook for, like my friend, so.
nice, all right. Details.
I have three happy bucks. And one for here. Because I'm happy for my son and JD's son and Shannon's son, who all went through their Eagle Scout Court of Honor. Yes.
Congratulations. Great.
I just want to say, not only did I celebrate a birthday, but I celebrated it in a big way because it was on the 8th and it was the eclipse. So all I did was walk out and look at all, happening right in front of us, so to speak. So it's a pretty amazing birthday. I can't forget it.
You're gigantic, some credit for making that happen on your record. Yeah. Who else had to have fun? Our new father, what times he Art slept through the night. Have money between the fines and the heavy, but that won't last long. All right, who else has a happy butt?
I started a new job with AFRL and Evan, and I was surprised the first staff meeting to see JD in the meeting. So
Nice.
together, which is awesome. And my husband and I last minute tickets to the Seinfeld show tonight. So we're excited.
That's a good week.
Yeah.
All right. Any other happy bugs? I like it. More people in attendance, more happy bugs. We like. Okay. Ticket drawing. Remember, our club half of the proceeds go to our Christmas basket project with a chance to draw for the Queen of Hearts. The ticket number is 339394.
Nobody feels
It's right here. Brilliant draw.
Hey, it's all the loud.
It's that.
You're right here in lunch.
They love me.
And.
Oh. Top rows. High crowds. Okay. Any announcements? Okay. Keith, you want to put forward, please? Thanks.
I'm happy to introduce our speaker today. Cassie Barlow is the president of SOCHI, which is the Strategic Ohio Council for Higher Education. She joined SOCHI as the director of aerospace professional development in 2017. She was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, and is an avid Bills fan. We won't hold that against her. Cassie is an active volunteer on several different boards across the Dayton community. After traveling the world for 26 years in the Air Force, she has chosen Dayton as her home and workforce development as her passion. She works with companies across the region to help them find the workforce they need, as well as helping build pathways to in-demand jobs. She also works with job seekers to help them find their niche. Cassie has a special focus on veterans' needs across our region and state. She is an adjunct in organizational leadership and development at Wright State, and in her spare time loves spending time with her husband and daughter or reading books. I first met Colonel Dr. President Barlow when she was stationed at Wright Pat as the commander, and I immediately knew she would do great things, and she is never disappointing. She is a true asset to the region, and I'd like to welcome her today.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, Rotarians. How's everybody doing? It's great to see you all. Got to turn this thing on so it works. There we go. Eric told me all I needed to do was turn it on and it would work. So we'll see about that. So it is absolutely fantastic to be here and I haven't seen many of you in a long time. So it's great to see your smiling faces. And thanks for the invitation. You guys get to deal with me for 2 weeks in a row. I don't know whose idea that was, but happy to be here. So I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do and what we're up to. Probably the last time I talked to you was a few years ago. And we've got a lot of new programs and have grown quite a bit since last time we talked. So happy to share all that with you. Right, Eric?
Press down.
Press down. There we go. So who are we? We are a nonprofit in the area, in the region. We just celebrated our 56th year in business, which we are super proud of. And we are all about collaborating, protecting with the government, with educational institutions, with employers, with a specific focus on education and employment. And we're working hard to help with economic development. And that's the way we do it, education and employment. Our primary business, our flagship, so to say, is our internship programming. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. We have a lot of partners, and I know these are really small for most of you. Let's just suffice it to say that we are partnered with every college and university across the state of Ohio. And if you are really discerning, you noticed probably when I showed my first slide was that our name is the Strategic Ohio Council for Higher Education. Several years ago, we changed our name from the Southwestern Ohio Council. So we have really spread and we are into schools like Ohio University and Shawnee State and Franklin, and we're spreading east. And that's the goal, to continue to spread the goodness. We also have a lot of K-12 and industry partners. And you will notice on the bottom of this slide, there's that tiny little word, ETC. And that just means that I couldn't put everything on one slide. We have a lot more than that. So when somebody asks me, why aren't I on the slide? I just refer to the ETC. You are on the slide. Trust me, you're there. So I want to talk a little bit about our portfolio. We are from the beginning, from when we stood up in 1967, long time ago, we were stood up as a consortium of universities across the state. And we still are a consortium. We're just a really bigger consortium than we were back then. In 1967, it started with just a few colleges and universities sitting around the table and saying, hey, we should talk more to each other, we should work together, we should do things together. And they all said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's develop this thing, this consortium, SOCI. And here we are, 56 years later with 22 colleges and universities sitting on the table and expanding, as I mentioned, every year. So our primary focus then is on our colleges and universities and on helping with professional development. It makes no sense for Cedarville to develop their folks on their own, and for Wright State to develop their folks on their own, and for UD to develop their folks on their own. Makes a lot of sense for us to do it together, right? So when we have needs, for instance, during COVID, we all of a sudden had this need to learn about online learning. I don't know why we had to know that, but so we all together learned about online learning. How do you do this thing? I mean, some of our professors, believe it or not, had never taught online before 2020. So we got together, figured out how to do it, right? And we did it together as a consortium instead of doing it alone. And I have example over example over example where we did that exact same thing. And we regularly put on, conferences and workshops and lunch and learns on a variety of topics. Last week, you'll love this one, Chief. Last week, we did one on, we had a guest speaker. He's a retired fire chief from Charlottesville, Virginia. And he spoke, actually Lynchburg, Virginia. He spoke on crisis management in higher ed. He was one of the first responders at Virginia Tech. before he retired. And now he's a dean at Randolph-Macon College. Fantastic, fantastic talk about the National Incident Management System and the importance of the National Incident Management System in all of our colleges and universities having a plan, right? So that's an example of things that we do together. That's the left-hand side. We also have a powerful webinar platform that our faculty and staff at all of our colleges and universities regularly log into, and they can pick whatever class they want to take, and they can take that course, short course. Last year, we had a record number of courses taken to the tune of a value of $1.1 million in webinars, which is just fabulous for our faculty and staff. So that's the left side of the slide. Is there anybody in the room who's not suffering from allergies right now? Oh my gosh. Does everybody have that tiny little indicator on the bottom of their computer that tells you that it's a high pollen count? Why do we need that? That it's a high pollen count. That thing drives me crazy. I haven't figured out how to turn it off yet. Maybe I need to ask you, because you seem to be pretty smart about those things. Okay, so that's the left side. The right side is all about workforce development, and that's really where we get into internships. Internships for high school juniors and seniors, all the way up through internships for postdoctorate level students. So believe it or not, our internship programming started in the 80s, the 1980s. We all remember those. Well, some of us do. It started with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So we've placed thousands, because we're still there, we're still doing it, and we've expanded over time. So we've placed thousands of students at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, many of whom have progressed through the ranks and are now serving as directors and senior leaders within the Air Force Research Lab, which is kind of exciting to see our interns leading major organizations now. So we have a variety of different internship programs, everything from our Miami Valley Intern Academy, which is our high school kids, to Associate Intern, which is our undergraduates. And then we also have a program, first of its kind in the world, where the Ohio Department of Higher Ed partners with the Air Force Research Lab and sponsors students doing masters and PhDs in Air Force related research across the state of Ohio, only in Ohio. Which, imagine being a young person wanting to study in a really cool area and getting to have your PhD or your master's sponsored by the Air Force and by the state and oh, by the way, a good number of those students are staying here, which is the goal, right? We want to develop that high-tech talent. We want to keep them here. They're staying here either in our colleges or universities or in the research lab, of course, or in federal contractors here in Ohio. So, and then we also have the Aerospace Professional Development Center, which is really primarily where our focus on veterans is. And through this center, we place thousands of veterans into jobs across the state, and we continue to do that. And our goal is to be the place where veterans want to come after they serve. We want to be that place. And we are starting to get calls from all over the world because of the Aerospace Professional Development Center. People are reaching out to us. Got a call the other day from a sailor who was in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I kid you not. And he said, we're in a place right now where I can talk to you. And I want to come to Dayton, Ohio. I'm like, okay. So we get calls like that all the time. And it's because we have really cool stuff going on in our region. And all of you know that because you're here. And you've been here for a while. So that's who we are. I like to talk a little bit about the pipeline because I oftentimes have employers come up to me and say, I can't find people. I don't know where they are. I don't know where to hire. I don't know where to hire in my next generation. Where am I going to get them from? And every single time I hear that, I talk to them about these numbers down here. So right now in the state of Ohio, we have almost 400,000 students in our colleges and our universities. And then we have about 220,000 juniors and seniors who are in our high schools. So realistically, we shouldn't be worried about, we should not be worried about our next generation, especially of course, the newest generation, right? We've just got to grab onto them and show them what they can do and what are the opportunities here in the state. So I like to show that to you to show you that we have enough. We have enough. We have a lot. And our challenge is not having them leave our state. That's our challenge. And we've got to figure out how to not have them leave us. And this leads to the next slide, on the power of internships. The number one reason to do internships, reducing brain drain. Everybody knows what brain drain is, right? We only keep 85% of our high school students. So we've got some leakage, I'll call it. We've got students leaving. And then when you get to college, we're only keeping 60% of our engineers. We're only keeping 63% of our scientists. So we have some work to do in connecting with those students and convincing them to stay here in our region. And the reason is because you can't open a paper nowadays without seeing this. So I know everybody in the room knows this, that we are in a competition for talent right now. That should not be a surprise to anybody. And we need to fuel our in-demand jobs as well as fuel our economy. So we've got all sorts of big guys landing in our backyard, right? The reason why they're landing in our backyard is because they know what we have, pointing to our friend from Cedarville. They know that we have students in our backyard, and we have a lot of them. They know that. So that's why they're coming here. And if you ask any of them why they landed here, Sierra Nevada, Honda, Intel, they will say because we know you have the workforce. That's why. So that's a good thing, but we need to continue to fuel, and we need to continue to show our kids what the options are. And then we need to make sure that they're staying here with us. We can't afford leakage. We've got to have them stay. So that's practice, best practice. What about research? What does the research say? The research says the best kids are getting into internships. They're the ones with the highest GPAs. They're the ones with the most motivation and the most passion. Those are the kids that the employers want to hire. Those are also in internships. It's also the place to find your future employees. It's kind of a no-brainer, but this is a part of a workforce strategy for employers. And something I love to point out to employers is that the interns are staying with them at a better retention rate than non-interns. So every time you hire a new person in your company, it costs you anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. You can reduce that by hiring more interns, because those interns are going to stay with you for longer. It's also a great way to test drive, and it's a test drive both ways, right? It's a test drive for the student, and it's a test drive for the employer as well. And I think it's important to point that out. And then last but not least, it's a great way to inspire your best thinkers who maybe are sitting back in their chair and haven't been super active lately until the new intern comes in and gets them all jazzed up about their job. And before you know it, they've got some new ideas. So how many Ohioans who was born in Ohio and it's been here ever since? All right, perfect. This slide should make you really excited, because last year, we count this number up every single year, and this is our highest year yet. Last year, we had over 1,000 higher ed students. So these are students who are in college who applied to come to Dayton, Ohio. And look where they applied from. They applied from 25 different states. 25 states. I would love to tell you that I went to recruit in Puerto Rico and Alaska. I would love to tell you that, but I didn't do that. This is all organic. These are smart, motivated, passionate kids across the country who want to do cool work. And guess what? We have that. We have that in droves here in our area. So this should be really exciting to you. And the kids who are local definitely have a leg up here. Because if the Air Force Research Lab wants to hire somebody year-round, guess who they're hiring? They're hiring the Cedarville kid, they're hiring the Wright State kid, they're hiring the UD kid, they're not hiring the Purdue kid. Because the Purdue kid's too far away. So they might hire for the summer. So great opportunity for our students. Now, a few years ago, we decided to dip toe into the high school water. And it was a little scary in the beginning. But I will tell you that after 3 years, so the first year we had about 50 kids apply, the second year we had about 200 kids apply. The third year, this is year 3 on the screen in front of you, we had over 700 kids. This year, I'll tell you, we have over 1,000. So talk about hungry and motivated. These are high school juniors and seniors, and look where they're from. They're not just from Dayton. Right? They are, I know this chart is, this map is very small. Most of the kids were from Dayton, but we had kids apply from Toledo, from Cleveland, from Columbus, from all over the place for jobs in Dayton. And you can see there on the bottom, what are they interested in? They're interested in information technology, they're interested in engineering, they're interested in healthcare, they're interested in business, and they're interested in aerospace. That's exactly what we need them to be interested in, right? Those are the jobs we need to fill. And a little story on the healthcare side, we received a grant from the state of Ohio to put high school students into basically shadow opportunities. And they were going to get paid to do these shadow opportunities for about 40 hours. Not a big deal, but enough to kind of, like I said, dip their toe in the water, right? We got this grant in early December. So we went out to all of our high schools and we said, hey, everybody, have your kids who are interested sign up on this spreadsheet and let us know who wants to do this. We got funding from the state of Ohio for 25 kids. So go ahead and have your kids sign up. This was the week before Christmas. Okay. Somebody guess how many kids we had sign up. Hundreds. Unbelievable. The week before Christmas. So we went back to the state of Ohio and we said, we're going to need a bigger boat, right? We're at 45, it's not going to do it. We need more. We need to get more of these kids across the finish line because they're interested and we need them in healthcare. So right now, as we speak, we have 200 high school kids who are in shadow opportunities at Premier Health, at Kettering Health, at Dayton Children's, at Mercy Hospital. They're all over the place. So if you run into a high school kid, when you go to the doctor, please be nice to them. They're just checking it out, right? They're just dipping their toe in the water and seeing if they like it. And hopefully they will, because we need them in those fields. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what some of our opportunities are, basically from soup to nuts. It's everything. There's nothing missing from this list, from business operations to engineering, to IT, to healthcare, to the trades, it's all on here. And then the schedule, for high school kids, it varies during the week. If you're a career tech ed student, you can get out early and come to work. If not, it's a shorter week, but that's okay. And then we can ramp up your time during the summer. Folks, these are paid internships. This isn't a volunteer opportunity. This is a paid internship. And which is really important for kids. They're learning while they're earning, they're saving money for college or for a car or whatever it is, right? And they're learning about the workplace and they're learning about what we have here in Dayton, Ohio, which is the best part. As I mentioned, we started at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base with our work. We are still at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base across all of the technology directorates at AFRL and then also at the Air Force Institute of Technology. And those engineers and scientists absolutely love having our students work with them. They love it. And then we've got just a sampling of regional partners here, just a small sampling, a lot more. Something I spend a lot of time on with our kids is professional development. So this isn't just learning technical skills when you get into an internship. It's also to learn soft skills, right? Equally as important for high school kids as it is for college kids. But these are no kidding conversations that we have. So when you get a cell phone, somebody might call you, right? Somebody might call you. And if you're not able to answer your phone, they want to leave a message. This is not rocket science, at least not for us, right? Well, for them, to help them, set up a voicemail. These aren't 89-year-olds. These are high school kids, right? We're helping them set up their voicemail. We're helping them check their voicemail. We're encouraging them to check their voicemail. And we're encouraging them to reply. Sounds simple, right? I'm making a big deal out of it because it is a big deal for these kids, right? And they're not going to get a job if their employer calls them and can't leave a message, or does leave a message and then they don't get a call back. So, and then, texting is a whole nother thing, right? How do you text if somebody in the professional world sends you a text? Not like you text your friends. It's a totally different game. And there's some places where you don't text your boss. You just don't do that. It's not cool. So we go through all of those things. So we take professional development very serious. We actually have a special series, professional development series that we created for our high school kids. And it's called The Hidden Secrets of Going Pro. And it's short little clips to get them engaged in learning about what they need to do and what they not, there are some that need a little bit more help than others. And simple things like baking, you just don't do that on the job, right? It should, once again, should be a no-brainer. You really shouldn't bake at all, but definitely not on the job. So how do we do all of this that we talking about? It starts with an employer calling us and saying, hey, I think I want to hire a student. How can you help me out? Here's what I'm thinking. So we start with developing a job description. We have a whole bank of them, both for high school and college students. And we start there. We start with the job description, and then we start talking about what are the hours and all of that sort of thing. And then what we do for the employer is we manage all of that HR stuff. So the I-9s, the work permits, all of that stuff. We do that for the employer so they don't have to do it. And the goal is to make it as easy as possible, because the idea is you're potentially going to hire more students if it's easy, right? And that's what we want. The best part, and I always say this slide for the end, because the best part is that we have some financial incentives right now to hire high school students. So there is something going on in the universe right now that is really pushing employers to think about high school students. And it's leading to a lot of grant opportunities. So for instance, right now we have a grant opportunity for employers who want to hire students in the tech business, anything having to do with tech. So whether it's IT, anything in IT, whether it's engineering, we have CNC operators, we have electricians, anything having to do with tech. It's 100% reimbursable for your company. So you can hire an intern basically for free, which is a really good deal. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. And we have quite a few companies who are taking advantage of that. And then if it's a non-tech student, so more like business operations, and that sort of work, it's 50% reimbursable, which is still a good deal. I wanted to show this slide because last year when we received our tech grant, the first place I called was Wright Brothers Institute. And I said, we got this really good deal. You guys are all about tech. What do you think? And the answer was, we want 30. And I said, wait, we 30 what? And they said, no, we want 30 students. And I said, okay, that's fantastic. So last summer, we had students, high school students at Wright Brothers Institute, solving Air Force problems using flexible electronics. And then standing in front of Congressman Turner, as you could see, and telling him about their project and what they solved and how they did it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting in the back and I was kind of, curious. First of all, I didn't even know what they were talking about. And then second of all, I was like, they are standing right next to Congressman Turner telling him about this and doing it in a very professional way. Completely blown away. So that was last summer. This summer, we are hiring another 30 students, and they are going to be working in the field of digital engineering. Once again, I'm not sure what that is, but I'm going to find out before the end of the summer. I'll be able to come back and tell you what digital engineering is. So super exciting opportunities for kids is my point. That's the point. So that's my last slide. And happy to take any questions. It's fun stuff, right? It's going on right here in our backyard.
I just have to tell you, you're awesome. This is so exciting.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you.
So, and the other thing I have to tell you is my son is an engineer that works in the hypersonic jet at A&R.
Yes, we want more like him.
Raised here.
We want more like him. That's awesome. That's awesome.
You said we're losing a lot of, having a brain drain out of Ohio. I'm sure there's been surveys done. What's the leading cause of people
Yeah.
not staying in
Yeah,
Ohio?
so, and Mark, you can probably fill in here too, but so I go to University of Dayton once a month and speak at take part in an ethics class. And every single time I go, I make an effort with the students that I'm sitting with, to ask them that question. What would it take? What would it take for you to stay here? And these are all kids from out of town, right? So the story's different at Wright State than it is at University of Dayton, than it is at Cedarville, and other campuses that have a lot of kids from out of town. Every single time, 99.99999% out of 100, they say, I would stay for a good job. So to me, that says we need to connect them with a good job before they leave, right? While they're still students in college, we need to get them into the internships at Right Path. We need to get them into internships at Ball Aerospace or GE Aerospace, or you name the company. But when they say that, I say to them, okay, I'm going to give you some homework here. I need you to know what a good job is. Right? I'm pushing back a little bit. You get where I'm going with this. Do not compare the salary that they're going to offer you in Chicago or New York or Boston to Dayton, Ohio. Do not compare that. But I do need you to compare what your cost of living is going to be. Just write it all down on a piece of paper. How much is it for you to buy a house in Dayton, Ohio? How much is it for you to buy a house in Chicago? What is your grocery bill in Chicago? What is your grocery bill in Dayton, Ohio? How long are you on the highway every day wasting your time? So I walk them through that, and they're looking at me like, but they need to think about those things when they're looking for jobs. But that's the answer. That is the answer. Like, Brent, how about the big
Things to do. Dayton's come a long way with that, our community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you want big city, okay, get in your car, drive to a big city and go visit and then come back. So you don't have to be in the traffic, right? So, good question.
What kind of placements in the non-STEM area?
Yeah, good question. So we have always been very heavy in STEM. In the last few years, we've really leaned in to the business schools and to more of the non-STEM areas. So we have a lot more students in accounting, a lot more students in marketing and graphic design and those types of areas than we ever had. And we're trying to increase that. We have a lot of students in those areas. So we're trying to increase that need. And even in pre-law, the hard part with the pre-law and pre-med is oftentimes they're not paid internships, and you know that. So we work with the organizations, the employers, to help them understand the value of that paid internship. So, but those are just examples of some of the areas. Mhm.
With the kids getting jobs on base or defense contractors, is there any effort to get them their clearances quicker so that they can expedite that process?
Yeah, so what we've been doing is, first of all, providing a lot of education to partner with the base on this, providing education about what the opportunities are in the federal government. So we created an entire website where a student can go in and search based on their major and see what kind of jobs they can do in the government with their major. And it'll list, here's all the different jobs. With that said, we also provide them information on what it takes to get a clearance. What is the paperwork that you have to fill? And we encourage them to fill out that paperwork, to start filling it out, so that if they're interested in the government job, that all of the paperwork's already done, and it makes the process quicker. And you know the way the process works. In order to get them a clearance earlier, they have to be in a position where they need that clearance, right? So there are those opportunities on base. They're few and far between, to be honest. They really are. So what we're trying to do is shorten the pipeline just from the perspective of filling out the paperwork and being ready. And talking to them about, here's the things, if you want to get a clearance today, here's the things you need to be thinking about. Here's the things you need to not, right? Because that's more important when it comes to having a clearance than the things you do need to do. So, yeah, we have all of those conversations.
Thoughts of working with universities outside of Ohio that strategically have programs.
Yes.
I have a niece who studies cybersecurity at a
Yes.
state university. There's no cyber jobs
Right.
in that area.
Right.
I would love to have her be, right? So there's other situations where it might make sense. I don't know. I thought it.
It makes total sense, and we're already doing it. So I don't talk a lot about that because I like to focus on Ohio. But we absolutely are doing that, and we're doing that primarily with the Air Force Research Lab. So we will have Air Force scientists and engineers call us all the time and say, hey, I'm interested in, whatever the cool fancy field is. And they're experts in this at, you name the school. Can you reach out to that school for us? Here's the professor you need to talk to. I want him or her, and I want 3 students. Okay. Got it. So we go do that for them. We don't physically go do that, we do that online. But we connect with them, we develop the relationship, and the goal there from our perspective, not necessarily from the lab's perspective, but from our perspective, our goal is to get that student to the Air Force Research Lab in Dayton, Ohio, right? So the idea is if they're working with them, throughout their college years, the chances of that are going to be pretty good. So there's a lot of that going on right now. The other thing going on from a state of Ohio perspective is the Find Your Ohio initiative. If you go online and you look for Find Your Ohio, you will find an effort to reach out to cities across the country that have the expertise that we need. They're being very deliberate about who they're reaching out to find cities that have a lot of IT people, or to find cities that have a lot of healthcare people, and reaching out through social media and doing some really direct marketing in those markets to get people to come here. It's really kind of cool what they're doing. It's all fair in love and war. Yes.
Got 2 quick ones. So obviously there's going to be restriction with age, in like the manufacturing skill trades field. Have you had any success with high school students or college students getting internships in those fields?
Yeah.
Part 2, when it comes to like social media, marketing, content creation, things of that nature, would that fall under the grant for the tech jobs, or that is off?
So as long as we call it digital marketing, it qualifies. And we do that a lot. We have a lot of students working in digital marketing. On the skilled trade side, we have employed quite a few students actually in the skilled trades. We focus obviously on the career tech ed centers because they can work before 18. For the kids who are under 18 and are in the traditional high schools, What we try to do is give them exposure in the skilled trades, but maybe not behind a drill or behind a welding machine or behind something that they're not supposed to be doing, right? So we're following the labor laws, but we're giving them the opportunity to see what goes on behind the closed door in that organization. So yes, we're working both of those. Good questions. Great questions, you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cassie. And next week, Cassie's gonna speak again, and then, I don't know, we may get her to introduce herself and do sergeant at arms. All things. And as has become our custom, we're gonna donate a book on Cassie's behalf to the Greene County Community Library System.
Thank you.
Okay, so next week, greeters are Shannon Graham and Rick Morales. Keep an eye on all our outlets for upcoming programs and events. And as you rise, does anybody have anything for the good of the club? Okay. Cassie, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Sure.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Anybody have an actual? Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah.